Hi guys, and I say guys because there are probably not too many girls watching this, and what I want to talk to you today about is prostate biopsy. I had a prostate biopsy yesterday, and if you're like I am, you're probably worried quite a bit about the experience, and so the purpose of this video is simply to tell you what happened and how it felt. So just a bit of background. My name is Neil, I live in New Zealand and I'm 69 years old, and the reason that I had the biopsy is because my PSA has been rising recently up to, well it's doubled in about the last 3 years. It's now 4.6, which I know is marginal, but my GP thinks that because of the level and the fact that my father had prostate cancer, that I should have the dreaded biopsy. So what happened? Well, like you, I lost several nights sleep, and the night before last I didn't get much sleep at all, worried about all sorts of things that may or may not happen. And the process was as simple as this. The first thing that you're probably concerned about is one of embarrassment. Now come on guys, we're all the same, we've all got one, and how do you think your mother felt when you were born? And how do you think that your wife or girlfriend or sister or whatever feels when they have a baby? The doctor has probably done hundreds and hundreds of these, and you are not any different to the one that he did before, and you'll be the same as the one that he did afterwards. So I have to say that didn't concern me in the slightest. So I arrived at the hospital about 20 minutes before the procedure, and my urologist gave me 1500 milligrams of antibiotic, and the antibiotic is called Ciplox, which CIPLOX, which is apparently pretty routine for prostate biopsies. So I had that. I had a normal breakfast, by the way. So I had the antibiotic, and then 30 or 40 minutes later I was called to the treatment room. The urologist was in actual fact a young resident who was very disarming, and the first thing he said to me is, "Righto, yeah, you're in good hands," which engendered a bit of confidence on my part. So he explained what he was going to do, and the procedure, 3 steps. First step is introduction of the ultrasound probe, so they can see where they're going and what they are doing. Second stage is the injection of the anaesthetic, and then the third stage is the biopsy itself. So, sorry, 4 stages. Before all of that, he does a digital rectal exam, and by this stage you would have had several of those, and so you know what I'm talking about. Not really uncomfortable, and by the time you've had it done 4 or 5 times or more, it's old hat. So he did a DRE, and yes, my prostate was slightly irregular on one side. He then lubricated and inserted the ultrasound probe. Now the ultrasound probe's about as thick as my thumb. It was no different really to a digital rectal exam, except that it was there for about 7 or 8 minutes. I can't say that it was comfortable, but it certainly was not painful. And so he put the probe in, and then the injection of the anaesthetic. Now I have to say that I was worried about that, and I can also honestly say with my hand on my heart that I didn't even feel it happen. The anaesthetic is not injected into the prostate, as I understand it. It's injected alongside the prostate, so the needle goes through the bowel wall, which I did not feel, and the anaesthetic was simply put in place at the top of the prostate, at the upper pole of the prostate, and next to the nerve bundle that runs alongside the prostate. So I was worried about the injection, and literally the injection was, I mean, I knew it was there as the needle went through the bowel wall, but it didn't hurt any more than doing that. than pinching yourself. Then he proceeded to take about 16 samples with the prostate biopsy gun, and the most painful part about that was the noise. Each time he pressed the button it made about that sort of noise, and again it felt as though somebody was clicking me with a rubber band. So the next stage was taking the biopsy samples, and literally it felt like that. Somebody on the internet, on a message that I read recently, said it feels like somebody clicking you with a rubber band doing that, and literally that's what it felt like. If I did this all day to you on the middle of your arm, you wouldn't be worried about it. The fact that it happens down there is probably a little bit different, but it was no more painful than being shot with a rubber band. So that he took 16 samples, and each one was described. So he said to the nurse, this one is upper lateral left or upper lateral right, or whatever, where it was. Took the sample, put it into the biopsy bottle, did the next one, and that whole procedure took 5 minutes, and that was it, done. So guys, you don't need to worry about it, because if your experience is like mine, it was easier than having a filling at the dentist. I then went home, and he did say I was going to go back to work. It takes a lot to put me off work. So the nurse actually said to me, look, take it easy for a couple of hours and take a couple of paracetamols. I didn't take the paracetamols. I went home, had lunch. I was more worried about being able to have a slash afterwards. So I went home, drank a glass of water, and I had no problem having a pee half an hour later. There was a very, very slight trace of blood in the first time I had a pee, and the second time several hours later. Now when I say a very, very slight amount, I'm just saying a very, very slight amount. If I hadn't been looking for it, I wouldn't have noticed it. I did have some discomfort in my nether regions for about an hour after lunch. I had the procedure at 9 in the morning, and about 1 o'clock that afternoon I decided that I would take a paracetamol, which I did, and half an hour later I was in total comfort. I sat in front of the heater at home and read a book for a couple of hours, and that was yesterday. Today I'm back at work, and I wouldn't know that I'd had the procedure. No after effects, no infections so far. The big risk is a UTI, a urinary tract infection, or sepsis, which I gather is pretty rare. I did worry about that. It's now 30 odd hours since I had the procedure, and so far, touch wood, I feel 100%. I haven't had the result back of the scan yet, and I'll know that in 3 weeks, so I'll update this post when I know the result of the biopsy. But I got to say, guys, don't worry about it. It's easier than going to the dentist. Alright, go and get it done.